Okay, so the first day after surgery, post-op day number one, as I said, I didn't get much sleep the night before. I was awakened every 4 hours as vital signs and pain medicines, and my medications weren't set up right. Plus, I just had surgery that day, but I basically woke up tired, and they wanted to get me up, and I sat up. I tried to stand up, and then I felt lightheaded, so I basically laid myself back down in bed. I just knew I didn't even go anywhere. I hadn't eaten anything in basically 2 days. Well, I guess I ate somewhat the night before, but so I ordered breakfast because once I laid down, I felt good. The only medications I've been taking so far, I took some. It's Soma, which is a muscle relaxant, IV Tylenol. I took a Percocet, but haven't been feeling that bad, except for that. Basically, really haven't. So I had breakfast. I had some scrambled eggs. Had a banana. Said V8. Felt a lot better after that. Even though I can tell you that not that I'm nauseous, but really not hungry. And later that morning, I had occupational therapy come by. We went over how to do basic necessities, because she can't bend down. Using a picker upper, how to get stockings on. Physical therapy came by, and I did pretty well. We went out walking this time, and I didn't feel lightheaded yet. Actually, we walked 300 feet, baby steps. They sure were baby steps, but I felt comfortable. My entire leg, it felt some swelling. I did know I had swelling, not major, but it definitely felt tighter than the right. The surgery site in the butt definitely was tight. But I walked, and I know before discharge they want you to do at least 250 feet. I did 300 feet that morning, and felt fine. I mean, I'm not like I'm energetic, but I was able to do that. That was not really an issue. I know that I sat in a chair later that morning, and you can't sit in any one position. You shouldn't be sitting for more than an hour. So, but I just sat in a chair, laid down, always had the ice pack on. Just 300 feet, that was a lot of work. So I was feeling better. I had some discomfort, but mild. I basically kept it at around 2, maybe 3 at the most. That morning, actually, a couple of good things. Got the Foley catheter out. That stings like anything taking out stings moderately. It's the worst thing. Got the IV disconnected. I still had IV access, just in case you would need fluids, but the IV was taken out. So I was basically disconnected, which was good. And I'd be helped to the bathroom because I could stand. That really wasn't an issue. Let's see, what else? Lunch I had, I don't even remember what I had for lunch that day. Couldn't have been that much, but what did I have? I don't know. I picked a little bit. Nothing spicy, but that was fine. I sat that afternoon. I know I actually sat. I took a look at the time, and I realized I was sitting too long, because there was times getting up, going to the bathroom, and that was actually the first time when I actually felt like I was getting lightheaded. And I had called the nurse, and while she was getting help and getting me, that's actually probably the worst I had felt. So I needed to lay down, and we laid me down, and my pressure was low. It quickly responded, but that was it. That was actually the last time my pressure had dropped, and I basically had been sitting up for too long, and I knew it. So that everyone responded fine. As soon as I said I needed to lie down, they came. They were there within 5-10 seconds. It was really nothing, and they got help and got me lying down in bed. Was the worst I felt. Oh, I know what I had for lunch. I had an Ensure high protein. So it was right after I had that. So I had, I guess, a relatively heavy meal in my stomach. So, but that was actually the only time where I felt nauseous, and I actually almost thought I was going to throw it up. If they didn't lay me down at that point, I probably would have. But I managed to hold back. But I probably didn't have 10 more seconds of being able to resist throwing up the Ensure. That's what I had. My own concern, because I knew at some point I'd be taking codeine and constipation post-op, less solid food, and that was liquid. And I don't know if anyone's ever had the Ensure high protein meal, but very tasty. So I know Ensure has this connotation that's only for old people in the hospital, but I think it's actually a healthier protein drink just for working out, especially the high protein one, which has 25 grams of protein. Anyway, so I laid down. Later that day, physical therapy came for a second time, and I went another 300 feet. So I actually did 600 feet that day. I had the option of going home that day if I wanted to, but being lightheaded, I wanted to go through at least one night, make sure I was okay the next day. I didn't want to find out I was lightheaded the next day, because that wouldn't have been good. So that wasn't any issue. Stayed that night. Actually, when I was eating dinner, I was exhausted afterwards. Actually, the most pain I actually had was after the second exercise. My left glute, my butt was burning, and I described it as sitting on hot coal fires. I guess if you're used to doing quad, deep knee bends, and your quads start burning, just imagine how it's burning, and then do another 100. That's what it felt like. I gave it a 6, maybe 7. It was uncomfortable. I took the Percocet, I took Tramadol, and while I was eating dinner, I probably fell asleep. So between getting the rest and taking the pain medicines, I was awakened actually by a friend's phone call, which was good because I felt refreshed. My pain level was back down to a 2 to 3. It was minor, basically very manageable. And when I say minor 2 to 3, I basically felt more comfortable than I usually did before the surgery, and definitely more comfortable than if I did any exercise because of the arthritis. Even though that night I went to sleep, got awakened multiple times because I was taking the pain medicine, I wanted to remain comfortable. I actually woke up feeling refreshed, and even at the end of the day, I was pretty shocked that, here it was Thursday evening. I had major hip surgery, and I still consider this a major hip surgery, and I felt pretty good. I had walked 600 feet. Now, I'm not running the Olympics. There were slow steps with a walker, but that was just the day before. And yeah, I know I had prepared for it. I know I felt young and healthy, but I don't know if I really expected to be feeling as good as I was. I knew when I woke up from surgery I would, because of anesthesia, and that's the time period after surgery where everything feels great. It's the next day, and I felt tired. I was worn out, but I worked hard, and I was doing pretty good. So I was feeling pretty good about myself. I had seen the hospitalist, Dr. Redman's associate, and basically I can have what I want. Everyone was great. The nursing staff, the physical therapist, occupational therapist, caseworker, everyone was great at the hospital, and I felt good, and basically made plans that I'd be leaving the next day by noon. I'd get one more physical therapy session in the morning where I'd be climbing steps, which I needed to learn how to go up and down. Being that I had handlebars on either side, that was not going to be an issue, and it wasn't. But I walked probably 400 feet that day. today. That's tomorrow now. I'm into tomorrow. But I felt really good, and even when we left the hospital, I had a minivan that sat in the front, so that was good because I can change the position of the seat, and getting into the minivan was pretty easy. I was wheeled my wheelchair to the minivan. I live about 2 hours away, so that was a concern. So we wanted to leave when there wasn't any traffic, minimal traffic. But I was feeling so good. When we get to my neighborhood, it's like, stop, pick up a pizza. We're gonna want to eat something. Stop at supermarket, and so we stopped at Publix, and I sat in the car, but for 5-10 minutes, and because I felt so good, I knew I didn't have to deal with anything. Nothing bad was going to happen that quickly. I had the phone. I can always call my wife, but everything was good. And got home, got it into bed. When I first got home, made myself comfortable, and just getting the house arranged, and everything was really good. So that's that. And the end of post-op day number 2, I have a different video. But that's all I can recount about the hospital stay. And it was short. It was pretty much what I expected. I could have made it shorter. I decided not to, that it wasn't worth it. I felt more comfortable being in the hospital and the care that I was getting. And everyone was great. Dr. Radiman's always available, his staff, and everything was great.